It's been 14 mornings since I heard your keys, since the world was brought down to its shaking knees. I'm crossing out the numbers like I'm crossing out the pain, but the ink just dissolves in the localized rain. It's been 22 days without you in the room, watching the flowers forget how to bloom. 100 hours since I mentioned your name in a solitary version of a losing game. I'm counting the minutes, I'm counting the cost of the days without you. To the store and I bought milk for one, a localized record of the things we haven't done. The clerk didn't ask where you've been or why. Underneath the glare of a digital sky, the sun keeps on rising, the earth keeps its spin, ignoring the place where the losses begin. They say it gets easier, they say it gets light, but the count only grows in the middle of the night. Is it a victory or just a long distance debt? To see how much further I can actually get. It's been 22 days without you in the room, watching the flowers forget how to bloom. 100 hours since I mentioned your name in a solitary version of a losing game. I'm counting the minutes, I'm counting the cost of the days without Day 23, still no word, the loneliest numbers I've ever heard. The bubbles are popping, the names are all there, but I'm talking to a vacuum, an empty side air. I sent a joke and I sent a how are you, watching the red signs one by one turn to blue, but nobody's typing and nobody's near. In the high definition of the empty side, I'm alone in the group chat, screaming in text, waiting for the nothing that's coming up next. ghost weaves a web of my doom. But I'm addicted to the scene and the salt in the sting of the beautiful disaster that a dead love can bring. I'm alone in the group chat, screaming in text, waiting for the nothing that's coming up next. A digital wall and a silent born thread, recording the things that should have never been said. I'm connected to everyone, anchored to none. The loneliest battle that I've never won. Seen by 5, replied to by 0. Alone in the group chat with no digital hero. Carried the boxes up the narrow step flight, into the shadows and out of the light, past the old blankets and the localized dust, to the place where the silver is turned into rust. I'm stacking the always and the never depart, in the cold quiet attic of a hollowed out heart. There's broken vows in the attic tonight, hidden away from the satellite light, tangled in ribbons and covered in gray. The I love yous that started to rot and decay. It's a museum of nothing, an archive of gone, as the steady on silence goes on and on. I found the card from our first year July. It made me a promise that was a beautiful lie. I should have burned it, I should have been brave, instead of just building a localized grave. Now the spiders are weaving a web on the wing, in the black and white version of my history. Close the hatch and turn off the boat, let the darkness, the memories engulf. There's no use in looking at what couldn't stay, in the high definition version of a final Saturday. There's broken vows in the attic tonight, hidden away from the satellite light, tangled in ribbons and covered in gravy. I love yous that started to rot and decay. It's a museum of nothing, an archive of gone, as the steady on silence goes on and on. Taped up tight, put on the shelf, broken vows in the attic by myself. There's a bookmark on 102, in the middle of a chapter about me and you. We were building the climax, we were setting the scene, the most beautiful narrative that I've ever seen. Then you closed the cover and you walked out the door, and I don't have the words anymore. It's just half of a whole story, a jagged edge plot in the high definition whole story, drifting away. We are characters planned for the years in the sun, a localized record of the things we haven't done. I wanted to see how the ending would feel, but you traded the fiction for a different side reel. Now the pages are blank and the ink is all dry. Underneath the light of a digital sky, can I write the finale, or is it too late to escape the vibration of a localized fate? I'm holding the pen, but my hand is too cold in a story of sorrow that's already old. It's just half of a whole story, a jagged edge plot in the high definition version of the things we forgot. No resolution and no happy ever, just a broken down sentence in a broken forever. I'm stuck in the middle, I'm stuck in the gray, half of a whole story, drifting away. Unfinished, untitled, half of a whole story, and I'm unrequited. I'm standing in the terminal, the commuters rush by. Underneath the glass of a digital sky, 10,000 stories are brushing my sleeve, but I'm in a vacuum and I can't even breathe. I'm a stationary object in a river of the blue, searching for the frequency of a person like you. I'm an island in a sea of people today, watching the current wash my spirit away, surrounded by voices but anchored in none. The loneliest battle that I've never won. A million connections but I'm out of the flow, an island in the sea, with nowhere to go. I see a young couple, they're holding their breath in a momentary triumph over emotional death. And a man on his phone, he's laughing so loud, while I'm just a smudge in a charcoal gray crowd. The waves keep on hitting the shore of my pride, with nowhere left for my spirit to hide. Maybe if I shout, someone will look back. Maybe the vibration will cause a little crack, but the tide is too strong and the world is too fast, and I'm just a castaway that wasn't built to last. I'm an island in a sea of people today, watching the current wash my spirit away, surrounded by voices but anchored in none. The loneliest battle that I've never won. A million connections but I'm out of the flow, an island in the sea, with nowhere to go. up the rush, turning our summer into the dust. We were a garden, we were a bloom underneath the light of a pale afternoon. But the frost started coming and the wind started to blow, and I'm watching the best of our history go. Love was just a season, it wasn't the year, a localized version of a permanent fear. It had a beginning and it had an end, in the quieted version of a very far friend. It was beautiful and vibrant while the sun was high, but love was just a season. It was just the expiration of a long dead spark. Everything that grows has a time to decay. In the middle of a gray tinted Saturday, love was just a season, it wasn't the year, the localized version of a permanent fear. It had a beginning and it had an end, in the quiet version of a very far friend. It was beautiful and vibrant while the sun was high, but love was just a season, and now it's goodbye. Changing color, falling down. Love was just a season in this empty town. I walked under the street lamp on Fifth and Vine, waiting for that dark tinted partner of mine. But the pavement was yellow and the pavement was bare. There wasn't a silhouette anywhere. I checked the angle and I checked the light, but I'm transparent in the middle of the night. My shadow quit on me. He finally had enough of the heavy set silence and the road that was rough. He packed up his outlines and he walked out the door. He doesn't wanna follow me around anymore. I'm a girl without a trace, a ghost without a name, playing a solitary my shadow quit on me. He finally had enough of the heavy sad silence and the road that was rough. He packed up his outlines and he walked out the door. He doesn't wanna follow me around anymore. I'm a girl without a trace, a ghost without a name, playing a solitary and a losing game. Where did you go? Left me alone. Even my shadow wants a life of his own. I'm holding the metal in the palm of my hand, a tiny brass ticket to a desolate land. It's got the keychain of the place in the sun, a record of the things that we haven't done. I'm standing on the doorstep, I'm standing in the hall, feeling incredibly and localized small. I'm returning the keys, I'm returning the heart, watching the world slowly falling apart. No more entry and no more home, learning the language of being alone. One little click on the kitchen side would turning the keys like I knew that I should. You didn't look at me, you didn't even speak, as the structure of us got incredibly weak. I placed them on the counter by the mail and the tea, in the black and white version of you and of me. Now I'm a stranger to the locks and the latch, searching for a flame and a long dead match. Does it feel lighter or does it feel cold to have a new story that's already old? I'm walking away from the front of the door because I don't live here anymore. I'm returning the keys, I'm returning the heart, watching the world slowly falling apart. No more entry and no more home, learning the language of being alone. One little click on the kitchen side would return in the keys like I knew that I should. Lock the door, walk away, returning the keys on a final Saturday. The fridge has a hum that's a B flat low, the only kind of music that I finally know. The floorboards are squeaking, a D minor chord in the high definition version of being ignored. I'm sitting on the counter, I'm drinking the tea in the black and white version of you and of me. I've got the silent apartment blues tonight, fading at the edges of the porch light white. The walls are too thick and the ceiling kitchen was warm and the hallway was bright. Now it's just the shadows in the middle of the night. I'm a guest in the flat, a ghost in the chair, listening to the sound of the empty side. Yeah. Turn on the radio, turn on the TV. Give me a frequency that doesn't sound like me, but the static is heavy and the static is deep, in the secrets and the promises I'm forced to keep. I've got the silent apartment blues tonight, fading at the edges of the porch like white. The walls are too thick and the ceilings are tall, and I'm starting to feel incredibly small. A rhythmic disaster, a melodic sting, the only kind of song that a quiet room can bring. Four walls, no voice, the silent apartment was my only choice. It starts in the eyes and it ends in the hair, a slow motion move to the empty side air. I'm losing my edges, I'm losing the grain, in the middle of the ice and the middle of the rain. I used to be saturated, I used to be deep. Now I'm just a promise that you couldn't keep. I'm mastering the art of fading out, removing the static and removing the doubt, becoming a whisper, becoming a blur, losing the woman that I thought that we were. A masterpiece of nothing, a study in the gone, as the steady on silence goes on and on. I walked past the bakery, didn't see my face. I'm a phantom style guest in this hollowed out space. My voice is a frequency that no one can hear, a localized version of a permanent fear. I'm erasing the lines and I'm bleaching the red, living in the world of the things that you said. Don't look too close or I'll disappear. I'm a ghost of a girl in a vanishing year, a translucent spirit, a silverback light, the specific reflection in a goodbye eye. I'm mastering the art of fading out, removing the static and removing the doubt, becoming a whisper, becoming a blur, losing the woman that I thought that we were. A masterpiece of nothing, a study in the gone, as the steady on silence goes on and on. Opacity zero, saturation none. The hour when I said it is finally done. I've been on this mattress since yesterday noon, underneath the light of a pale afternoon. I've counted the cracks and I've counted the dots, tying my spirit in localized knots. The world is outside, wide open to you, but the ceiling is the only thing I can pursue. Is the ceiling is my only view tonight, fading at the edges of the porch light white, a landscape of plaster, a desert of pain, the quieted prayer of a sinner and a saint. I'm looking for an answer in the texture above, in the hollowed out now. I'm just staring at a life hidden dust, turning our silver and gold into rust. The gravity's heavy, the atmosphere's thick, and the rhythm of my pulse is starting to flee. If I close my eyes, will the plaster dissolve? Will the axis of my world start to finally revolve? But I open them up and the white is still there, and I'm just a girl breathing empty-sided. It's the ceiling as my only view tonight, fading at the edges of the porch light white, a landscape of plaster, a desert of pain, the quieted prayer of a sinner and a saint. I'm looking for an answer in the texture above, in the hollowed out version of a terminal love. Still looking up, nothing to see. The ceiling is staring back at me. I've been polishing the anger like a silverback stone, in the high definition version of being alone. I remember the lies and I remember the sting of the beautiful disaster that a dead love can bring. You moved on so easy, you moved on so fast, while I'm still here haunted by the ghosts of the past. It's the grudge I can't release, the anchor in my chest, a house that is failing the sanctuary test. It's heavy and jagged and it tastes like the lead in the quieted version of the things that you said. I wanna be free, but I'm tied to the no. The grudge I can't release won't let me go. I see your new photos and I see your new smile, and I feel the vibration of a localized vibe. Why should you be happy? Why should you be well in the middle of my own localized version of hell? I'm feeding the fire, I'm fanning the spark, searching for justice in the deep of the dark. They say that forgiveness is a gift to the soul, but I'm losing the pieces that once made me whole. I'd rather be bitter than be empty side thin, watching the place where the losses begin. It's the grudge I can't release, the anger in my chest, a house Still sharp, the grudge I can't release is a hole in my heart. I walked to the box at the end of the drive just to prove to the gravel that I'm still alive. I turned the small key and I opened the door, but the metal is empty and the metal is cold. Just a flyer for pizza and a bill for the light. Nothing to help me get through the night. It's the man never comes, the letter unwritten by the ghost of a love that was suddenly bitten. No, I'm sorry in cursive, no please on the page. Just a quieted version of a localized age. I'm waiting for a message, I'm waiting for a sign, but there's nothing in the mailbox of mine. I used to get cards and I used to get notes, the tattered up remnants of our forever quotes. Now the postman just passes, he doesn't look back at the woman who's falling through a localized crack. I'm a dead letter office, a lost and found heart, watching the world slowly falling apart. Maybe I'll write a letter to myself and put it in the box on the bottom side shelf, just to see my own name in the ink and the white before I surrender to the middle of the night. It's the mail that never comes, the letter unwritten by the ghost of a love that was suddenly bitten. Oh, I'm sorry in cursive, no please on the page. Just the quieted version of a localized age. I'm waiting for a message, I'm waiting for a sign, but there's nothing in the mailbox of mine. Empty slut, rusty hinge, a mail that never comes is a lonely style bench. The moon is a sliver of a silverback light, reflecting the void in a midwinter sky. I'm stretching my fingers to the right hand side, with nowhere left for my spirit to hide. There's no heat in the cotton, no breath in the air, just the ghost of a person who's no longer there. The space beside me is cold tonight. the space beside me is cold and bare. I remember the rhythm of your heart on my back, back before the world started to fade into black. Now the mattress is a mountain that I can't even climb. In the high definition version of a localized time, I try to stay centered, I try to stay small, but the nothingness is the biggest thing of all. Maybe I'll fill it with books and with tea to hide the reflection of what's left of me. But the temperature's dropping and the pillows are stone in the silver-backed silence of being alone. The space beside me is cold tonight, fading at the edges of the porch light, a landscape of linen, a desert of sheep, where the us and the we used to finally meet. I'm shivering in the volume of the empty side air, because the space beside me is cold and bare. Still blue, still ice. The space beside me is a heavy price. I woke up at 7, I made a hot tea, but I didn't recognize the version of me standing in the kitchen, a guest in the hall, a portrait that's hanging on a different side wall. I'm watching the hours and I'm watching the clock, but I don't have a key and I don't have a lock. I'm uninvited to my life today, watching the colors of my spirit decay. I'm a ghost at the table, a blur in the bed, and a story of sorrow that's already been read. Someone else is breathing, someone else is through, in the black and white version of me without you. I walked to the office, I sat at the desk, but the work felt familiar and the scene felt grotesque. I said hello, but the voice wasn't mine. It was a recording on a broken down line. I'm a voyeur of habit, a witness to sane, in the middle of the ice, in the middle of the rain. Where did she go? The girl that I knew, the one who was vibrant and the one who was true. She's that's already been read. Someone else is breathing, someone else is through in the black and white version of me without you. Not my house, not my skin, uninvited to where I've always been. They're bringing in the groceries at number 42. He's holding the door like I once did for you. The kids are all laughing, the dogs in the yard, watching their happiness incredibly hard. I'm behind the curtain, I'm behind the glass, watching the shadows of the normalcy pass. I'm just watching the neighbors live tonight in the high definition version of the porch light white. They got the dinner, they got the heat, while I'm over here in a total defeat. A voyeur of happy, a witness to we in the black and white version of my history. The blue light of their TV is flickering bright, a domestic style signal in the middle of the night. I imagine the secrets, I imagine the hell in the quieted version of my lonely side. Now I'm a ghost on the sidewalk, a blur in the lane, in the middle of the ice, in the middle of the rain. Don't look back at the window, don't see my face, the hollowed out version of this empty side space. I'm a guest in the neighborhood, a stranger to home, learning the language of being alone. I'm just watching the neighbors live tonight in the high definition version of the porch light white. They got the dinner, they got the heat, while I'm over here in a total defeat. A voyeur of happy, a witness to we in the black and white version of my history. Lights go out, the street goes dark, watching the neighbors leave their mark. I remember the fabric of your heavy wool coat, and the way that the silence was a lump in my throat. You held me a second too long or too short in the localized version of a final report. I didn't know then that the circuit was through in the high definition version of me losing you. We hugged for the last time, and I didn't know. Watching the best of our chemistry go, a desperate style circle, a final style heat in the middle of the sidewalk on an empty side street. No goodbye in the touch, just a never again. We hugged for the last time in the middle of the rain. I can still pressure on the small of my back as the world around us started to fade into black. I should have held tighter, I should have been brave instead of just watching you dig our own grave. Now my arms are just empty, my spirit is thin, a record of exactly where the losses begin. If I could go back to that Tuesday at 4, I'd stay in the doorway for a minute or more. But the clock is a witness and the time is a thief, leaving me here with a local earth's grief. We hugged for the last time, and I didn't know. Watching the best of our chemistry go. The desperate style circle, the final style heat in the middle of the sidewalk on an empty side street. No goodbye in the touch, just a never again. We hugged for the last time in the middle of the and the image went black. I was the headline, I was the lead, I was the only thing you thought you'd ever need. Now I'm the footnote, I'm the if I have time, a localized version of a slow motion crime. You check your messages before you check my face, leaving me here in a second tier space. You stopped choosing me first, it's a quiet, it's sting of the beautiful disaster that a dead love can bring. I moved down the list until I fell off the page in the high definition version of a localized age. I'm an afterthought heart, I'm a maybe at best, failing the priority and sanctuary test. Your friends got the weekend, your work got the night, and I got the leftovers of the porch light white. I used to be the answer, now I'm just a doubt, watching the light of our connection go out. I'm competing with screens and I'm competing with them, tearing the fabric at the very last hand. Don't tell me you love me when I'm fourth on the line. Don't tell me you're busy when you're doing just fine. I'm looking for the woman that was once your world, watching the flags of our forever get furled. You stopped choosing me first, it's a quiet, it's sting, and a beautiful disaster that a dead love can bring. I moved down the list until I fell off the page in the high definition version of a localized age. I'm an afterthought heart, I'm a maybe at best, failing the priority and sanctuary test. I'm not a backup, I'm not a later. You stopped choosing me first, and I can't be a waiter. screen. The most beautiful syllables I've ever seen. My heart did a stutter, my breath caught a chill in the high definition version of standing still. I tried to be modern, I tried to be done, but I'm still the girl who's chasing the sun. Your name still feels like home to me. In the black and white version of my history, a sanctuary sound, a localized grace that I can't even find in a different side face. It's the only word that makes the world feel right. Your name still feels like home. Tonight I whispered it softly to the empty side room, just to break up the shadow and the impending doom. It tastes like the summer, it tastes like the wine back when your future was finally mine. Now it's just a ghost on the tip of my tongue, the saddest style melody that's ever been sung. Maybe I'll change it, or maybe I'll hide the way that it resonates deep on the inside. But the letters are familiar and the vowels are deep in the secrets and the promises I'm forced to keep. Your name still feels like home to me. In the black and white version of my history, a sanctuary sound, a localized grace that I can't even find in a different side face. It's the only word that makes the world feel right. Your name still feels like home. Tonight, 4 letters, one soul. Your name still feels like home, and I can't let go. I'm clutching the edges, I'm holding the line, trying to make you be finally mine. But the harder I squeeze, the faster you fall back to the nothing and the everything of all. It's a granular loss, it's a desert style heat in the high definition version of total defeat. You're slipping through my fingers like the sand on the shore, and I can't hold us anymore. One grain at a time, the forever is gone. The steady silence goes on and on. slipping through my fingers. I know